Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Sidetrack. So Sidetrack is a podcast where me, Jennifer, and my co-founder slash co-worker slash host of this podcast, Bayu, we talk about anything and everything really, but mostly we'll talk about our journey of building a mental health organization for Indonesia. So I guess if you haven't got the chance to watch our first episode, basically we got this idea to start a podcast. I know everybody's starting one and the COVID-19 thing, but
Yep.
we've had this idea for a few years. But anyway,
That is true. Exactly a year. Well, actually, a little more than a year.
yeah. So when we started working together in the mental health organization that we're building, we had meetings, very long meetings. And I mean, I would say I would always get sidetracked a lot. Like I would go on one topic and I would take it through legs. So that's how I guess the idea of this podcast started. It's because the things that we discuss and just the journey of building the mental health organization, there's a lot of topics we could talk about. And I thought it was just very interesting. And, something we could look back in this podcast or in this conversation in a few years' time and just remember a few things decisions that we probably made for the mental health organization.
Yeah, good and bad. We'll see.
Yeah, and then good and bad. And we could kind of understand the way of thinking. So, which is good because today our topic is about some comments. I wouldn't say judgmental, but some comments that I've received since, launching. Well, there's two parts for this episode. The first one was since launching the website and our ad in a way,
our latest product. Let's just call it.
Okay,
Yeah.
The launch video which you created, and we'll get more into it. But second, the second part of this podcast, we'll talk about the live session I did yesterday, which was basically relating mental health to religion. So we'll talk about the launch video.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an ad. I feel like it's a launch
Well,
video.
it can be an ad. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll
take
talk
that as
about
a
the
compliment.
religion afterwards. So let's actually start talking about that ad. So do you want to since you created the entire video, do you want to talk about roughly describe what it was?
Right. So what do you call it? So when we launched our product was basically it's a software. Okay, it's a website. It's like a web app, I guess you can say. That's a bit too much, but yeah. So it's like a web app. I mean. And it's about educating people for mental health. I don't think that's giving away too much, right? So yeah.
No.
But it's about education and it's an online platform. But it's you can't be, the way I see it, the way when I envision this ad, if you want to change something, the perception of that thing, you can't just be doing the same old, a textbook, ad that you see on TV type of thing. Everything's kind of been, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you know this as well, right? These. Even people, how do you you see those ads about Slack or Zoom or whatever? It's not some boring here's a copywriting about here's a business software, and it's you got to make it more fun, you got to make it more appeal to the masses kind of thing. Yeah. And I guess for the record, we'll see, but I did get inspiration from Apple, so shouts out to the Apple advertising team on that one.
Yeah. So just to get through, just to roughly describe, if you're listening through Spotify or something, basically the ad, it starts off with what we did in 2 years ago. And then it's text heavy, number heavy. And, it's a lot of popping. I don't know how to describe it, but
it's
as you mentioned.
We're flexing numbers and stats.
Yeah, flexing numbers and stats. And I don't know, maybe I could play a little bit of the music.
Yeah, sure.
So this is the music.
Yeah.
So roughly you get an idea of how upbeat the ad is. Which, okay, I get it. So as we mentioned, we're trying to develop this mental health organization. We're trying to make mental health better in Indonesia. And a lot of the comments that I got from, friends and everything, I think one of them mentioned, if you're promoting mental health, why is it so hype? why is the ad so hype? And kayak, just to add a little bit bahasa Indonesia to it, she basically said, bukannya kayak kesehatan mental tuh seharusnya something kita take seriously. Okay. First of all, I understand where she's coming from. And I'm not offended or anything. Like, I'm not offended. I absolutely understand where she's coming from. I think from my point of view, it's kind of like, I don't know, it was a bit odd that I guess everything related to mental health is, you know, it has to be somber music. It has to be mellow.
Right,
It has to be sad. And as you mentioned, it's like, we're trying to change the stigma and trying to like change the conversation surrounding it, and we can't just keep putting sadness. But I do understand, like, I think we've talked about this a bit a few days ago, where it's like, I understand her perspective. It's like, why are you trying to hype depression? Why are you trying to hype anxiety? Because when you talk about mental health, that's what kind of like what you relate to, when in reality, what we're working on, our mental health organization, isn't just for that. It isn't just for like depression or anxiety or a specific mental health condition. It's actually mental health in general. So we kind of relate it back to like physical health. You know, physical health, like if we are talking about cancer, of course you don't want it like super duper high, or like if we're talking about stroke or brain damage, of course we understand. But if you're talking about physical health as a whole, and if you're trying to promote maintaining that physical health, like going to the gym, then you would promote it in a hype sense. And in a way, we did like do hype as in like dance music too much, you know? I don't know. Like, what is your opinion on that?
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I guess the first thing to set clear is like our thing is not really like, you know, like the other established, I guess, known mental health organizations tend to like zone into one thing, like depression, anxiety, and then that's it. Ours is like umbrella mental health for the moment, right? So, you know, it covers anything from like the more serious stuff to the like more like I don't know how do you general / you know, gray area, like, you know, general wellness and stuff. So and like mindfulness.
And I guess I understand, because a lot of people are like, oh, but you know, for people who maintain their mental health, so like the equivalent of going to the gym for your mental health currently, roughly, it's you know, meditating and like practicing mindfulness, doing yoga or something like that, or like those calm, peaceful. So then I guess what they were saying, like, it's like mental health is always related to like being calm and stuff.
Right.
But in reality, like exercise and stuff like that, like you can do that for your mental health. In fact, like personally, I exercise for my mental health. Like, it's rare that I would be like, I exercise for my physical health. I mean, yeah, it does have physical benefits, but what get me up in the morning is really because I know exercise is beneficial for our mental health. So I don't think like everything that we do, every ad or every video that we do has to be like sad music or, you know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the other way I say it is like, let's be real. Like, you want to launch something. It's like, I don't know, from my perspective, it's like, this is something like we've worked on since the start, since the beginning. It's like you know, it's a one of the long-term type of thing. And then it's like, you know, yeah, I personally wanted to do it justice, and justice doesn't mean like doing some somber music ad that someone will just skip through. It's like, okay, cool story, bro, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right. It's like,
and I think it's eye-catching. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
No, I think it should be like a bit more eye-catching, and you know, that's the whole purpose of an ad. The way I see it, right? You're supposed to grab attention.
I think like, I think the biggest misunderstanding is that what we're working on is just specifically for like depression or anxiety, when in reality it's so much more than that. Mental health and your mental well-being is so much bigger than just those who suffer from depression or anxiety, and that's the audience that we're trying to reach. And I think like what we were promoting is an education platform, so it's like learning.
Exactly.
So like learning how to help your friend, learning about mental health, learning about things. And so I don't think it's like, of course, like we get it, like again going back, like we understand why she would say something like that. Like when we do like like someone telling their story, like their mental health journey, we don't make like hype music into that. Of course we put like softer music, like ambient music, but like we know there's a time and place, and we feel like yeah, we just didn't feel like a somber music was exactly the best suiting when we're like popping some
Yeah,
stats and like our education
that
platforms.
is true. All I'm saying, yeah, all I would say is that we did it for a reason, not for no reason. So there you go.
Yeah, it's not like we just randomly put something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and
I
I
will
guess
say
like
this. I will say this. I did edit the video to another music, but lo and behold, using the same music that Apple uses on their ads is not the brightest idea.
yes.
That will get your video strike the moment it gets
Yeah.
uploaded. But yeah.
But I felt like the music that we chose wasn't even like it wasn't too like it wasn't like we're promoting a nightclub party or something.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's
I mean,
like
not for me at least.
it's like a pretty good suiting music.
I think
Like
it's alright. It's like it's a sweet, it's a nice balance. It starts off
yeah.
like the way I did. It's a bit of like rising, and then it's like it's
Yeah.
there, and then
I don't know. I guess like
nice.
again, we understand like it's not something mental health organizations normally do. Like we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that mental health organizations would usually take the peaceful, sad ad route, but we're trying to normalize conversations surrounding mental health. We're trying to approach it differently, and I don't think it's like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's idolizing mental health conditions, and I don't think it's like not suited, like I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I feel like it's a. I think I'm gonna be biased because I'm the one that edited, but it is the sweet spot. It's just there, and timing wise, let's be real. It's COVID-19. There's a lot of stuff going on around the world. The last thing you need is another somber ad.
I understand.
So,
yeah, exactly.
there you
But
go.
again,
and for the
yeah.
record, our marketing team did like it. So there you go.
So we did have the approval.
Yes, we did
But
get the.
I mean, like, just again, we understand why people would still find it odd because it's like it's
Yeah.
like an odd thing. But again, that's just like this is our reply to it. It's just like we're just trying something different, which is again like going to our second topic about religion and mental health. I did a live, so just to give you a little bit of context, I did a live session yesterday where it related religion to mental health. And why we did it, it's because I don't know, can we say Ramadan? Yeah, we did like a
Yeah,
Ramadan
for
themed
sure.
one. Why we did it is because Indonesians, the majority of Indonesians are Muslim, right? And at this time during COVID-19, they're going through the Ramadan and soon Idul Fitri. They're going to celebrate it during like quarantine orders and just the general anxiety of having COVID-19 and having to like wash your hands and all these things. Of course, like I don't celebrate Ramadan, but I do fast for Easter. And so I understand how that might be challenging being at home and, trying, like, especially like us, like, you can both see our kitchen right
Well,
behind
thankfully it's
us.
blurred, but yeah,
But it's weird.
thankfully.
But I mean, like, we live in one bedroom apartments and it's like, there's like a kitchen at the back and it's like, it's so much easier. Usually you would go to school or you would go to uni or something like
Right.
that, right? And so it's like, of course, like this change and like if you're anxious, like it's harder to concentrate and be mindful about your fasting, right? And so we thought it was, and of course, like I just remember if Christmas was like taken out of the picture and my grandparents don't throw like their usual Christmas party, I won't get presents. Like, I mean, I'm at the age where I'm fine, but I mean, like as a kid or as a teenager, like it would be weird, it would be like, oh, I'm missing out, and so I
Right.
legit, we talked about it and we are like, it'd be great to do a session about it because a lot of people are also already expressing their like anxiousness and frustration at the fact that, it's changed. And another big thing itu gak bisa mudik gitu kan.
Right.
So that's hard. And so we thought it'd be a great idea to do it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it was like a smart idea to do it? Like after watching the live, like after like watching it.
From a ethical standpoint, I think it's appropriate. From a business standpoint, it's views. So, but I think it's fine. It's appropriate. I mean, why not? It's like you said, what? I don't know. I don't know when the last pandemic was in the world, but I don't recall, when the last time the humans had a Ramadan during a pandemic. Maybe during MERS. I don't know when
Maybe.
did MERS take place. But yeah, since the Ramadan period shifts every year anyways because of the lunar calendar thing. So
Yeah.
I think it's
So
based on the moon. It's not lunar calendar. Don't quote me on the
okay.
don't make any draw lines to the Chinese
So
calendar. So
like
yeah.
yesterday, I like again, it's not that we're affected by these comments. It's just that it's just something
I
interesting
think it's just
to
something to
bring up.
discuss. Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
it's just
Yeah,
so interesting, like how people's point of view and opinions, and I thought it was just so
sure.
interesting. So obviously, I got a lot from my church friends who were like,
Go at it. Send them in.
I
Send them
got a
in.
lot from my church friends who were like, why are you promoting a different religion and all these things? Again,
Really?
it's really hard because I did grow up in, like I did grow up, I went to all Christian school and all these things.
Mm.
But yeah, I guess I understand like how that must look if you're like, you know,
Non-Muslim.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I tried my best trying to find someone who was Muslim to host.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I didn't want to host it because I feel like I shouldn't, but it was more of like people who go through the fasting or people who understand of celebrating Ramadan and Idul Fitri would probably
Mm.
know the questions more.
It's more relatable. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I hosted it because nobody was available and I did a lot of research as well.
Mm.
And as much as I wouldn't 100% relate, I don't know. I felt like I did pretty all right. I don't know, with like the
I feel like
questions and
I don't
stuff.
know. I feel like if you grew up in Indonesia, or even if you're non-Muslim, you can relate to Ramadan to a good
Yeah.
extent. You still
Yeah.
do like buka bareng, like
Yeah,
and
I
all
do that.
jazz.
Yeah,
So
like
it's all good.
yeah, and so for me, I didn't feel, and like I don't know, like Indonesia's slogan, like Bhinneka
Unity in
Tunggal Ika.
diversity.
So like
Unity in
what
diversity.
Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. So it's like
Yeah.
why are you being such a, like I understand because we grew up in quite a tight knit church and stuff like that, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's kind of like I don't know, like it's not. I am, like I work for this mental health organization. Our target population is Indonesians. The
Mm.
majority of Indonesians are Muslims. So
Mm-hmm.
whether, like I had, we had to like culturally adjust interventions.
Yeah.
And that was one way. So that's the first thing. But the
Mm-hmm.
second, like a lot of other people who were already aware about mental health, like another common comment I got, like DM I got, was from one of my friends. Like he goes to school in Australia, but he's like now back in Indonesia for good. But what he mentioned was, why are you relating mental health to religion? It's like, because I guess like I'm actually like, what's it called? A lot of people would be like upset when you
Mm.
talk about your mental health and when somebody would say berdoa aja to like just
Mm.
pray. So
Yeah.
I guess like where he was coming from is like, why are you relating it to religion? I don't know. I'll give this question to you. Like,
I
yeah.
feel like, I don't know. It's like, look, I'm not just disclaimer. I'm not a licensed psychologist, nor do I have a bachelor's or a master's or any of the sort. But I feel like it's I don't know, how do you say it? Mental health. At least the way I grew up with it, right? A lot of the aspects when we grew up, it was, I don't know. I want to say it's like kind of spiritually embedded, or the other way around. Like, it's like, I'm pretty sure you can relate, even though, like, for context, I'm Muslim and Jen's Christian, right, Jen?
Christian, yes.
Yeah, okay, just yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the way it's like, it's like the thing. It's like, oh, if you feel a bit down or whatever, pray to God. You'll find some guidance from that, right? I feel like that's the general gist of it. That's kind of, I would say that's like the blanket statement. That's why we relate it. Like, there's definitely, I'm pretty sure there are research papers out there where they talk about how religion can help with mental health treatments and such, but like it's more like you have to recognize that they're two different things. They're not exactly like, mental health is not exactly your spiritual thing, right?
Yeah.
Not 100%. There's an overlap. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
1-to-1. Yeah.
So maybe just to like, no, just a big disclaimer. We're not trying to make like a religion-based mental health organization,
Yeah.
but we don't want to limit it to not religion-based. Is that
Exactly.
like how to say it? It's just kind of like whether we
Like
like it or
options
not.
for everyone,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do like we need to give options. And I think again, going back to our target population, it's Indonesians. And if you kind of take yourself out of that, I don't want to say international bubble, but if you've, like religion is still such a huge part of many Indonesians' lives. Even like even mine, like I still practice my religion, and it's like
Yeah.
you can't, it's not that we're trying to like force religion into the conversation of mental health, but we're trying to make it culturally adjusted in a way to
So this one's
Indonesians.
so actually wait. So this comment is actually more the opposite of what we get. It's actually is like, why are you trying to put religion into mental health instead of like religion is a part of mental health? Right? Because I think what you
Yeah.
usually get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know who that person is, but if they look at stats, literally Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim
Yeah.
population on the
Yeah.
planet. So there's your answer.
And I guess we're just like, you're a bit ignorant if you're, kind of ignorant if you don't, if you're just trying to like promote, like, I don't know, everyone has an opinion. Like mental health and religion is two separate things and stuff like that. Everyone has an
Sure.
opinion. Like I think we just did another live with another psychology researcher, and
Yes.
he mentioned that what he studies in his religion aligns with everything that he learns about mental health. So there's like so many different people have so many different perspectives, and
Yeah.
I think we can't ignore the fact that religion is still a huge part of many Indonesians' lives, whether we like it or not.
And I feel like, I don't know, for our case, it's like we get a lot of DMs, and we've talked to people with bipolar and things like that get the exact same thing. It's like they go to somewhere and then they get the classic just pray more.
Yeah, and it's not like we're saying. Here's the thing. I feel like this is like a bigger discussion for a later podcast, but like we're not telling people to just pray their mental health away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but we're trying to like show people that you don't have to choose between your religion and your mental health.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like that's the aim of why we're including religion to like not our mental health vision and the entire organization, but just like a chunk of it, like hit about it.
Yeah, like I feel like in theory, sure, they're like very separate, but like like theory is not practical, and in the practical sense, is like it's going to overlap. And then you're talking about Indonesia, here, it's 100% gonna overlap. So can't ignore that.
And again, it's kind of like we're not forcing people to just pray, or we're not forcing people to like turn to their religion for mental health help. It's really like we're just trying to provide information and education that would be relatable to them and would be useful for them and their mental health. And if it's
options,
and if it's like through religion and in a religious context, then I don't see the harm in it. I feel like we should be brave to do that in a way, because if you want to create change, you have to kind of understand your population and stuff.
I thought you were gonna drop the Elon Musk tweet, but
What was the Elon Musk tweet?
The something you can't change the world in.
Okay, no, that's for a later. That's for a later date. Like we're talking about just
statement, but
we're just talking about like, I wouldn't say judgmental, but just comments or just like people's opinions. And again, we're not like offended, or we're like, we just want to discuss it, because I know it's like in a lot of people's minds about like, why are you putting religion into the discussion of mental health? Isn't that what you're supposed to avoid? I feel like you shouldn't. Again, it's like you shouldn't be afraid. You should like try to like incorporate it, especially if like in Indonesia, like let's not.
I think I don't know, if anything, I think it's tone deaf to ignore religion.
Yeah, I feel like
I think that's
I feel like if your mental health organization, or if you don't believe in any specific religion, again, it's your choice, and it's up to you. But we're just trying to give options, so I just don't see how that's harmful. And
for sure,
I guess like if we're like during the session, I tried my best to kind of direct the conversation to give helpful tips that are actually that people can use regardless of what religion. But yeah, like of course they're like, if you relate it to religion, of course there would be some topics or some things that they would relate to, like reflect and remember God and stuff like that. But I mean, if that's not for you, if that's not your cup of tea, we do have a more neutral approach to
If
like helping your mental
anything,
health.
most of our stuff is like neutral.
Yeah, in fact,
for
we just did religion once.
scientific,
Like we haven't actually dived
yeah.
into it at all. So it's
Religion
like,
is something that we want to get into, right? Like put more resources into, but we just haven't.
yeah,
yet.
but we just haven't had the chance. But yeah.
Any more comments? Let's see.
That's
Send them
all,
in, send them
honestly. Just like those three things, which is like the first one was about that, like, why are you hyping up mental health? And it's like, it's not hyping up mental health conditions. It's kind of more towards like what we mentioned just now about like,
I think it's it's basically what we discussed, and like in my eyes, it's like you want to change that perception. Like, why should mental health be somber? That's the way I see it. It's like, it shouldn't just be.
yeah.
And
then we discussed about the religion, about like why I, the Christian, was the one hosting that live. And again, it's like a bunch of, I feel like diversity, man. Like I just, it's, like if you think that's blasphemy, if you think that's like, chill out. Yeah. I feel like, I
we're
feel
being
like
Indonesians first and foremost.
Exactly. And I feel
if our Ministry of Tourism, whatever ministry is listening, feel free to get in touch. We could use funding. Yeah. Please go on.
No, but yeah, seriously, because I don't think it's an issue. It's like, I don't know. For me, I don't feel guilty at all. I don't regret it at all. Like, I truly felt like if, like we need to respect each other cultures, and we shouldn't be afraid to be like,
Yeah, I feel like, I think it's to me it's a knowledge thing. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up. Like, you see a lot of ignorance and like distorts, and there's not me trying to be, to preach, here, look at me, I'm the savior of the planet thing. It's like, it's real. Like, the reason you're hateful against, like, people are hateful against other religions, like they get this this stupid misconception. It's like, just talk, just get to know. It's not like, you're committing treason.
Yeah, exactly. I just like, I felt like it's like, when I started learning about, the fasting, ibadah puasa dan Ramadan and everything, it relates so much to what we do in Easter as well. It's just like, I'm not saying it's like 100% similar, but I feel like I feel like that, as you mentioned, like discrimination, bullying, and all those things, it starts from not wanting to understand other people's culture or religions.
Right.
And I think like, just because you learn about it doesn't necessarily mean you're like praising their god or something. I don't know, whatever.
It's like reading a Wikipedia article, but you're just talking to a person.
Exactly. Like, just chill out.
Yeah.
But what was that? What was the third one we talked about why we're relating religion to mental health? So yeah, again, just to wrap this section up, we're just trying to give options, and we're not trying to ignore the fact that religion is a huge part of
actually if you do figure out what organization we work in, and if you do figure out what we're talking about, do send more comments like that, because we want to see. I want data, if anything, how many people think like this, so it helps us drive decisions. So there you go.
No, I love to understand a lot of people's opinions, so then we can one, address it, but second, also just know what people think, and like what our target population wants to see, want to hear. Like, is it the way we package it? Do you prefer if we do something that's like, if we do religion, it has to be all 5 religions? Just like,
right.
If you figured it out, let us know. If you're a friend of ours, let us know your opinions as well, even though I don't want to read it at 2 a.m, but love it. Okay, there was a lot of anger right there. I'm sorry, but anyway, let's just wrap this whole podcast up with what we usually wrap up with. I'm just trying to find it and send it to you through Instagram. Let me see.
Yeah, while she does that, if there's any if you sell anything, preferably licensed, preferably government regulated, if you're looking for a sponsor spot, yes, we are open. Okay, definitely do let us know. I don't know what our email will be, but yeah, we'll look at the show notes below. All right, just check out the show notes. All right.
I feel like people can figure it out ASAP. Like, they can.
We'll see. Actually, like, we should start like the moment we post this. There should be like a countdown, like a timer. It's like, oh, there you go. They found out. That took a while.
No,
maybe
I guess
we should pitch our voices down. I'll pitch mine up, and I'll pitch yours down. Like,
okay,
so you'll become the guy.
Like, oh my god, can you just imagine if we do that thing and insert tagi?
Well, I mean, we can. So we'll see. Well,
no,
actually,
but
we
like,
should milk that. We'll milk that, and then we'll reveal our face reveal. Oh,
No, but
yeah.
I love like why we're doing this podcast again. If you haven't listened to the first episode,
Mm.
really, it's just we just want to remember the journey of building it because it has been quite a journey, but
It's a
also
long ass
because
journey.
it's so interesting. Like we would go hours and hours in our meetings just discussing random stuff, and I feel like, man, we should put it out. Oh my
Look,
god, we're just like this
to put
business.
into perspective, I spend less time with my friends who live a block away. Yeah,
To
in a
be fair,
month.
dude, my ex-boyfriend in the like awal like he used to hate the meetings because we would go hours and kaya I used
Yeah,
to
I am
still
not to blame. I'm not responsible
I
for that
used to
relationship.
still
But
work
yeah.
as well. Jadi kayak we did like malam-malam gitu, jadi jam 9 malam gitu kan. And like he would
Right.
be so pissed because like I couldn't like obviously
Well,
ini.
you were pretty workaholic, to be fair, even for
Okay,
me.
let's not talk about that. Anyway, let's go back to like let's not talk about
All right,
my
this is our
tendency.
plan recurring. This is something we're testing out. It's called, well, I guess what? I guess I can credit this to PewDiePie. Meme review?
Yeah.
Is this what? All right, share a meme.
But it's
There you
because
go.
we talk about memes a lot as well. And like a lot of our topics comes
Mm-hmm.
from usually like random tweets or random things. So we thought like why don't we just
That's
make
true.
it like a weekly
Thank you,
thing?
Elon Musk, for giving us content for the next couple of months. So, yeah. We're looking
So
forward to more tweets.
we didn't prepare a lot for this episode. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually whipped this at the like 2 minutes before we started recording. But
All right, give us the
yeah,
meme. Give us
it's
the meme.
related.
Give us the juice.
It's related. Like I'll put it up in the screen, but it's related to what we were talking about today about who am I to judge? Also me. Like it's
So
Chris Jenner.
this is a how do you call it? What do you call it? Is this like a social meme? Is this a mental health meme? What would you classify?
I would
this in?
say social.
Is this a
meme.
basic meme?
Basic
Yeah.
B meme. Basic B meme.
There you go. I'll show it to the camera if it focuses. There is. Ooh, it's not. Oh, there you go. There is.
Chris
Okay,
Jenner.
correct me if I'm.
I'll
Kris
just
Jenner,
put it.
there
I'll
you
put
go.
it in the screen. Like I'll edit
Yeah,
it
yeah,
in.
yeah.
But anyway, like why I chose this one is because like again, we're not trying to say we're like angels here. Like we don't judge
I mean,
people.
we are human. Okay, it
or
gets
we don't
tiring
have
trying
opinions.
to start it.
You know, but I'm just gonna call out a few church people up in here. No, maybe I shouldn't do that. I mean, people just in general, they'll be like, who am I to judge? But then they're like judging 24/7. So I think we should be a more supportive community, you know?
Is this like one of those classic? I'm gonna say like everything, and then like, oh, but who am I to? It's like it's like every time I say, it's like I'm not trying to be an a-hole, but
To be fair, I have to be fair, part of our job is actually to kind of analyze mental health interventions that's been implemented and to judge them and to kind of weigh the pro and cons in them. That's kind of judging them. And then seeing whether like our mental health organization should do something. So in reality, it's kind of hypocritical for me to be like, these judgmental people, when in reality, that's kind of what I do as a job as well. Like to kind of like look at what like interventions that's implemented and be like judgmental and just thinking of like all the things that can go wrong. So yeah, that's why I chose it. It's just kind of like, we ain't saints here. We're just, you know.
It's just consumer insights. That's what it is.
Yeah. But
it's just business, nothing
again,
personal.
don't be thrown off by the meme. We do want to hear your opinion and what you think about like the content or what you think about relating religion to mental health and like, advertising mental health in like not in a somber way, but like in a hype way. Yeah, we would love to hear your opinion on that for sure. I won't be heard.
Definitely not heard. Yeah, we're just this is a safe space. As we say. Well, not on the internet anymore. Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, so we have a lot planned for this podcast Sidetracked because
fingers crossed.
Just in our
Fingers
mental health
crossed,
organization, there's so many interesting people and so many interesting members that we definitely want to feature, and that I have so many odd, weird, interesting conversations that I feel would be like pretty interesting. And it could be honestly anything. Like I feel like I'm just looking through the topics that we have planned, And like I actually put one which is like Bon Appetit YouTube. BA. Love it, love it. We're gonna talk about that. Like, yeah, we're not gonna give too much away. But anyway, that's all for this episode. Let us know what you think and see you guys in another sidetrack.
And if you figure this out who we are, and if you think this is a waste of time, do DM us.
No, don't say it's a waste of time. This is legit. If you think it's a waste of time, I'll just private the videos in YouTube, to be honest.
Okay. We'll see.
All right. See you guys next time.
Hopefully
Bye.
we'll have a sponsor by then. All right.